What do you make of all these various headlines? Clearly, the market reaction was initially somewhat severe, but it's really tapered off now because many hoping that come Wednesday, there's going to be more agreement at the table.
Yeah, we've been seeing changing headlines and changing narratives for hour by hour all day today. First, the deal was looking like they were very close, and then it looked like the talks were breaking down. Now it looks like they are agreeing to have a pause in some of these talks until next week. It's in part because the president is trying to drive a hard bargain. He told a couple of my colleagues here at Bloomberg in an interview yesterday that he wants to push Canada very far, and he said that if Canada does not make a deal right away, that eventually they will have to make a deal because the U.S. has more cards than the Canadians do. He says that he's willing to move forward with car tariffs if necessary. So it does look like the negotiators were able to make some progress, but they weren't able to close the deal today by the deadline that the president initially set. It's not yet clear how they're going to work out the deadline issue if they end up having to come to an agreement sometime after the deadline. But the president has a little bit of wiggle room based on some of the legislative language that will give him about a 30-day period after he signs some document later today to come up with a deal that includes both the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. So they have a little bit of time, but not a lot.
But the key, it sounds like when I look through these headlines that trade deals are pretty complicated and there's progress and maybe the discussions went well today, but it was perhaps a little bit unrealistic to expect that all of the details could be worked out.
Yeah, this is an incredibly fast pace. You just had Mexico agree to a deal on Monday, and the idea was that Canada would come down to Washington and hammer out the rest of the details within a week. Now, these are very complex agreements, very complex disagreements about a number of different issues that need to be worked out and hammered out between the negotiating sides, and it just was not very realistic that it would all happen just at a snap of a finger, and the president tries to make things sound like they're very simple, but these are complicated negotiations, and it's clear that they're going to take more time to try to work it out.
And Toluse, we are getting a headline that Trump has indeed notified Congress of a plan for a new North American trade deal. So the plan still stands. And remind us of why we had this rather awkward artificial deadline imposed for Friday.
Yeah, in Congress, you have a number of different timelines based on laws that were written a long time ago that basically slow down the process. So by the president signing this and notifying Congress, it gives Congress about 90 days before any deal goes into effect. The reason that 90-day period is so important is because down in Mexico, you have the transition between the current government and the incoming government, which is going to be sworn in at the beginning of December. And they were hoping, both the U.S. and Mexico, to have this deal in place before the new government comes in. Once you have a new government, as you saw with TPP, you could have all kinds of different ideas from the new president. So they wanted to try to get this done in time, and today is really the deadline for notifying Congress, starting that 90-day clock, and having this new agreement come into place before the new Mexican government comes into place. Now, whether or not all of that ends up playing out the way the president and his negotiators envision, it remains to be seen. There are a number of hiccups that can come along the way, the first of which may be that Canada may not sign on to the deal, which would push things beyond that 90-day timeline.